Hello, welcome to my little corner of the world. I hope you're having a good day. If this is your first time here, I'd like to welcome you. If you're a returning viewer, I'd like to say thank you for coming back and it's good to see you. If you like what I talk about on my little channel, please consider subscribing so we can become friends. The only requirement I have is if you have a disagreement with me or with another poster, please be kind. Okay, that's my only requirement because we have enough hatred in the world. I really don't want it here. Okay. So, what do I want to talk about today? Well, when you think about child abuse, what comes to mind? Starvation, sexual abuse, horrific beatings, uh, you know. And yes, that is child abuse. Now, I want to tell my story and a couple things I want to say before I start. Please, I'm not saying this to get pity, nor do I want pity, because pity really doesn't do anything to solve a dilemma. And the reason why I'm making this is because for the people out there that may think that their problem is unique, people that have no self worth, that have hopelessness, I would like to share my story and maybe they can get some strength out of it. Okay, so that's why I'm going to tell this story. Now, and if I stutter a little bit, it's because I'm going to be talking about my parents, and they're both deceased, and I don't want to, I don't want, I want to be kind, okay? Anyways, we grew up in a Catholic coal mining community. Everybody was a coal miner or their dad was a coal miner. And we went to Catholic school, elementary school, okay, where we were indoctrinated about God, not taught about God. And we were not taught how to be good Christians, we were taught how to be good Catholics, okay. Now, from a young age, and the rest, I mean, I have brothers and a sister, but I'm just going to talk about myself. They have another story they want to tell, that's fine. Never heard the words, I love you, I'm proud of you, good job, etc. Never was tucked in at night. Never, all through my childhood and even into my adulthood, did I hear the words, I love you. Okay. And mom never kissed goodnight. I would kiss her on the cheek and then put my cheek out, and she would be like, oh, okay, and kiss me. All right. Mom and dad never, ever hugged us. To be fair, we did have food, clothing, a roof over our head, warm in the winter, comfortable in the summer. We didn't have air conditioning, but we had a big company house, okay? So they're fairly comfortable, okay? So, anyways, mom rarely hit me, rarely, okay? But mom was emotionally dead. She would just sit there in a room with you and say nothing, do nothing. You know, she was just emotionally dead. Dad, uh, dad's another story. Dad would use a belt. Dad would use a stick or anything else that he can get his hands on, and use that to beat with. And whenever I got into my teens, then he started to use his fists. Now, he, to be fair, he didn't hit me in the face with his fist, but he would pound me on the shoulders and arms, and he would work me until I got into a corner and I'd be cowering. And boy, he was like a big prize fighter, you know. Uh, so he did that. And Dad, no matter what I did, it was never good. It was never right. There was always something wrong with it. Always. I mean, and I mean always. Never was there any kind of, no hugging, never going out with the boys, his sons going out and playing or anything. Nothing like that. Okay. And so I had grown up. And one time, Dad, I come in the bathroom. I was taking a bath. I don't know what he was so ticked off about. But I was in the tub, and he took me by the back of my neck, and he tried to force my head down into the tub, into the water. Well, little boys that eat snacks, got a little bit of a belly, and I couldn't get my head down there. So he took water in the cup of his hands and like was splashing in my face, even hard enough to hit me in the face, saying, "I'll drown you, you son of a." A lot of that. Okay. One time I wanted to show Dad I could do something. Mom needed her oil changed. So as we went down to the garage, Mom's pulling the car up on the ramps, and Dad never bought anything new. He always made something. A lot of it was crap. But he made these ramps out of railroad ties, so there's no guards on there. Well, anyways, Mom's pulling up on the ramps. I'm looking. I just got down to see how much further she needs to come on the ramps. As soon as I got up, she come off the ramps and pinned me against the workbench by my hips. Now, Dad heard that, and he'd come down, and I thought he would be concerned about me. Mom stayed in the car. If that would have been me and my son, I'd have backed that thing right through the garage door even. Mom sat in the car, Dad come down. I said, "I'm okay." And he said, "You're not going to be okay if anything is wrong with that blankety blank workbench." I guess he built the workbench, I don't know. But anyway, so, and then we would go to church every Sunday, go to church, and Dad would pray the loudest. And I got a really screwed up, like, what is Christianity? What is God? We would learn you don't take the name of the Lord your God in vain. You keep holy the Sabbath. And Dad would violate all of that as soon as he would get out of church. So I never knew what. I was screwed up as far as that goes. But as far as being a godly person, okay, and using Dad as my example, well, Unfortunately, I realized in my early, late teens, early 20s, that I was just mad all the time. And I did. I went to counseling because it didn't feel good. I just was, and the counselor then, as I told my story, and after a few weeks, he described to me, he says, "I want to give your opinion on something." And he described everything. And I said, "My gosh, get that kid out of that home." And he said, "I'm describing you." And that's the first time that I knew then that I was abused, that there was child abuse in the house. And my oldest brother, who was deaf, was pretty violent. He was always beating up on somebody, so there was a lot of that. But the counseling helped. Not saying I never felt anger or whatever, but I was able to check it, So, and then just one last story, as some of you know, I'm battling bone cancer, which started as prostate cancer. And then, like an idiot, I stopped going to the doctor until I started getting bad pains, and then they found it. And, well, anyways, when I come home from surgery, went up, because I lived in the house below my dad. I went up in the yard because I seen Dad. First thing Mom did, and this is the first time Mom ever kissed me without me kissing her. She says, "I want to give you a kiss," and she kissed me on the cheek. Dad says, "Oh, good, now we can go look at hubcaps in this town, Everson." Okay. I thought he was joking. I says, "Okay, Dad, I'll get right on it." Anyways, a couple days later, I hobble up to the house. He's always ticked off about something. And then he looks at me and he says, "And I thought we could have went for hubcaps." And if I wasn't so sore, that was the first time I would have clocked him, because he was always thinking about himself. It was always about Dad. So, anyways, and there's much more I could say. I mean, there's some stuff that's just unbelievable. I could tell you and be like, "Oh my gosh," But there's not a whole lot of time to do that. The reason why I told this story is because there are a lot of people out there, and I was one of them for the longest time, thinking that there's something wrong with me. Okay, there's something wrong with me, and I had no self-esteem, hopelessness. Nobody liked me. This is the way I felt. Nobody liked me, etc., etc., etc. Oh, and one more. I got to tell one more story. When I passed my state test to become a paramedic, I was excited. I went up and I told my dad and mom, they were in the kitchen. I said, I passed. I passed. Here's my score. And my dad says, well, that was only a test. And mom said, nothing. Nothing. So, but anyways, so you could see why I would have a very low self-esteem. Um, just even self-hatred at one time. Okay. And I know there's a lot of people out there that may think that their story is unique, and I'm here to tell you it's not. It's not. This is a more common problem than you realize. Okay, it's a more common problem, and it causes damage. And I would tell parents today that love your kids. Tell your kids that they're important. Tell them whenever they do a good job. Hug them. Go outside and play a game with them. Stuff like that. I went to a restaurant one day and I seen a beautiful family of 4 sitting at a table. Mom, dad, 2 kids. A very beautiful family. Every one of them was on their phone. Dad and mom was on their phone too. And I wanted to scream at them and say, how are you going to know that your child is thinking about drugs because of peer pressure, or the daughter is thinking about having sex? How would you know that whenever you've got your nose stuck in the phone? Okay, I just, pay attention to your kids. Let them know you love them, and don't ever say, well, they know I love them. No, tell them. Tell them. When they do a good job, tell them. And if they do a bad job, don't just rip them apart. Tell them, look, you're a smart person. You could do better than this, okay? Pump them up a little, whatever, all right? And so anyways, to wrap it all up, and it took me over 15 years before I left the Roman Catholic Church, and it was for strong theological reasons. And, I got sick and tired of hearing people say, give your life to Jesus and everything is going to change. Well, I gave my life to Jesus, and there's still a lot of stuff going on in my life, okay? But he has given me the strength to rise above just about anything, even my cancer, okay? My cancer, I'm not afraid of it. And if I have my choice to leave this crappy earth and go to heaven, or stay here, no contest. I'm ready to go. But anyways, for those of you who are wondering, no, I'm in my 5th year with treatment. It appears to be progressing very, very slowly. Okay, so I'm not worried about it. And So anyways, okay, to wrap up, your problem is not unique, and it's not because you're a bad person. You may have idiots for parents, okay? But surround yourself with good, positive people, okay? And for me, I started studying my Bible, starting with the New Testament, okay? And that has given me a lot of strength, okay? And I've also been into apologetics for a few years now, just learning how to defend my faith, giving proof for my faith, okay? So anyways, leave comments in the section below. Be kind. If you have a similar story, by all means, you're welcome to share it, okay? And if I can ever do anything to maybe help somebody, I'd be happy to, okay? So anyways, that's it. I'm sorry if it was too long of a video, but I want to please stay safe, okay? Take good care of yourself. Love your neighbors, okay? And I will see you in the next video. Thank you. May God bless you.